him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-o-my-gob! Hey, it's time for the only news that matters. And Neil Young recalled in a Rolling Stone interview with Cameron Crowe, he said, "I never forget that every time a new Beatles or Dylan album would come out, you know they were way beyond it. They were always doing something else, always moving down the line." And he was very awed by them, and then he soon found himself accomplishing the canny feat of having his heroes turn into admirers, as both Dylan and the Beatles expressed some enthusiasm for his work. However, not everything he cooked up could please them, and the famously thorny John Lennon later voiced his disdain for one of his lyrics in particular. The lyrics in question is when Young seemed to lay down his old mantra for the ways of rock and roll on Rust's Never Sleeps track, Hey Hey My, with the line, "It's better to burn out than to fade away," which Lennon perceived to be about self-destruction in a more nebulous sense as opposed to a creative blaze of glory, which he found particularly condemnable given the time of its release. As Lennon told Playboy in an interview in 1980, shortly before he was murdered, he said, "I love all this punky stuff. It's pure. I'm not, however, crazy about the people who destroy themselves." And he says, "I hate it." You know, the Beatles went to explain it's better to fade away than an old soldier than to burn out. I don't appreciate worship of dead Sid Vicious or a dead James Dean or a dead John Wayne. It's the same thing. Making Sid a hero, Jim Morrison, it's garbage to me. I worship the people who survived. Gloria Swanson, Greta Garbo. They're saying John Wayne conquered cancer. I don't want my son Sean worshiping Sid Vicious. What does he teach you? Nothing. Death. Sid Vicious died for what? So that we might rock? I mean, it's garbage, you know? If Neil Young admires that sentiment so much, why doesn't he do it? Because he sure as hell faded away and came back many times, like all of us. No, thank you. I'll take the living and the healthy. Young would respond to this 2 years later by saying, "The rock and roll spirit is not survival. Of course, the people who play rock and roll should survive, but the essence of the rock and roll spirit to me is that it's better to burn out real bright than to sort of decay off into infinity." Even though, if you look at it in a mature way, you'll think, well, yes, you should decay off into infinity and keep going along. Rock and roll doesn't seem, that far ahead. Rock and roll is right now. What happens right this second, is it bright or is it dim because it's waiting for tomorrow? That's what people want to know. And that's why I say that. All right, there you go. Yep. Both sides are making rules of what rock and roll should be. Whatever. Everybody should just keep it, individual. And I don't know. These two preach too much, And as far as like Neil Young music, let me tell you something. Of my opinion on Neil Young, that guy is awesome when he's not plugged into a guitar. Sorry, I can't get into that crazy horse crap. Now, when he's unplugged, I love it. Well, I really love two of his albums. After the Gold Rush, which is mostly acoustic, but then that one song, When You Dance, I Can't Really Love, I hate it. I hate it. It's just not good. Because it's plugged in, and don't get it. But what I like even more than After the Gold Rush, which I feel is like his masterpiece, is Harvest. My God, I love that. I got that album kind of at a young age. And I would wear it out, man. Play it over and over. But, yeah, I remember not liking the songs Alabama and Words because he was plugged in. But all the other songs, love it. Especially The Needle and the Damage Done, which I feel is his greatest song ever. So, yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand at all how he is a genius when he's doing these songs like Hey, Hey, My, Better to Burn Out and Fade Away. I don't get it. Guess some of you think it's genius. I don't know, man. It's romper room lyrics to me. Bon Scott wrote real lyrics, man. Not this shit. And Keep on Rockin' in the Free World. God, I hate that damn song. Man, and when he performed that live at the MTV Awards with Pearl Jam, man, people loved the hell out of it. And I'm watching it going, get that old man off the stage. He's like he's playing his guitar with his back all the way down. It looks like he's about to break his back, and then he's running around, like jumping around and playing. I'm like, dude, stop it. You're going to break a hip. It was embarrassing to me watching that. It was like, oh my God, this looks super awkward. But I remember back in the day, fucking MTV would show that clip over and over and over again. And people were like, man, Pearl Jam rocks, and they're giving some attention to this old guy. Look at that old guy trying to play guitar, man. Shit was horrible. I don't like Neil Young plugged in. I just don't. And, I discovered After the Gold Rush after I discovered Harvest. And I thought both those albums were great with a couple electrified songs that suck. But actually, After the Gold Rush had Southern Man, right? And that was kind of electric. And actually, that's like the only electric tune I liked from Neil Young. That's it. Nothing else, man. But yeah, whatever. John Lennon was offended because rock and roll is not getting burnt out. You gotta do this and that. And Neil Young was like, nah, man, rock and roll, you gotta get burnt out. Just think for yourself. I can't think for Neil Young or John Lennon. Both of them are whacked out of their mind with, John Lennon was just wacky, man. I want to save the world, but I don't care about my son Julian. I care about Sean and Yoko. That's it. Yeah, he wasn't the greatest dad. And recently Neil Young with this, man, take my music off Spotify and get off my lawn with that Spotify crap. And then he turns around and he's like now, all right, put it back on Spotify. I need the money. Integrity and schmegrity. I mean, remember in the 80s, Neil Young did a song called This Note's For You, bashing on everybody that's making millions off commercials, because after all, he didn't need commercials to make millions at all, Now he would. Hey, he wants to be on Spotify after he bitches about him, and now he's back on Spotify. So it's kind of like, hey, this note's for you, right? Right, Neil Young? When they go on Spotify and they click on a Neil Young song, that's Neil Young's version of This Note's For You. He sells that as well. Money, man! Fuck it. All you people in the 80s like pretending, oh man, we're too cool, we're not gonna waste our, do commercial. Man, fuck that, man. If I was a rock star in the 80s, you'd see me on every fucking commercial alive, man. What? You're gonna pay me $15 million for this commercial? Fucking sign me up. But not Neil Young. No, my integrity is everything, and blah, blah, blah. And John Lennon would have, if he didn't get killed, he'd probably be the same way. But John Lennon doesn't need to make commercials. I mean, he was a freaking Beatle, for Christ's sake. But anyway, that's it. about this. John Lennon doesn't like hey, hey, my, because he thinks rock and roll should be this way, and Neil thinks rock and roll should be the opposite way. Preachers. Yeah. When I say my way, I'm not talking to nobody but myself. If you agree, cool. If you don't agree, cool. I don't give a rat's ass. Agree or don't. You know, and I haven't even told you my rule of rock and roll. I don't have one. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Ring that little notification bell. I would really appreciate that. And leave your comments below about it. What do you think of John Lennon, Neil Young, and, you know, so on. And, like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe to my channel and click the little notification bell. And stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.